So the next module is on Z transform, module 5. So this module, basically, we are going to represent signals using discrete time complex exponentials. So in Z transform, we will basically be talking about discrete time signals as x of n, y of n, etc. Not x of t, y of t, no continuous time signals. We will be discussing on discrete time signals. So we are representing the signals using discrete time complex exponentials. So underline, so the important thing is about complex discrete time complex exponential. That is what we'll be doing in Z transforms. So we are in this module, what we will be doing is we'll be studying some important system characteristics and how we will get to know about certain important characteristics like stability of a given system. How can we comment on such kind of parameters is what we'll be discussing with in terms of region of convergence, whether the system will be stable or unstable, whether it's a causal system or a non-causal system. All these characteristics, system characteristics, is what we will be able to analyze using this transform called as Z transform. So Z transform is for discrete time signals. We'll be using the discrete time signals and we'll be trying to find out the Z transform of the given signal x of n. So x of n, keep in mind, it's discrete in nature. So let us start with the definition of Z transform. So Z transform of an arbitrary signal x of n is, so now, so far in my last lecture in module 3, we have seen CTFS, Fourier tool we have learnt. Where Fourier tool we have learnt, we also represent it as capital X. The frequency domain, time domain we wrote represented using small x, and frequency domain we also we represented using capital X. Here also, this is again in frequency domain capital X, but instead of k there, we are using Z because it is the Z transform of a discrete time signal x of n. So this is our x of n, whose Z transform we will find out using this expression. So what is the expression? It's a very simple expression, a very nice expression to remember. So x of z, remember the capital X on the left side, is equal to summation over n from minus infinity to plus infinity. Remember, it is from negative infinity to positive infinity. X of n, what is the x of n? X of n is a discrete time signal, any arbitrary discrete time signal, and multiplied with z to the power of minus n. What is this z to the power of minus n? This z to the power of minus n is nothing but discrete time complex exponential. Just a couple of minutes back I told you it's a complex exponential. So where we can write this z is equal to r e to the power of j omega. See here, r e to the power of j omega. What is this e to the power of j omega? It is a complex exponential. E to the power of j omega is a complex exponential. Now where this can be written in terms of, now how can we write in terms of a graph? So if I try to plot real of z with imaginary of z, because it's a complex exponential, so now we can write where r is the distance from the origin. So you see here, point z is equal to r e to the power of j omega is located at a distance r from the origin. From the origin, it is located at a distance r. See, this is r, which is the where the point is located at a distance r, and angle omega. So it is the angle omega relative to the real axis. So relative to the real axis. So r e to the power of j omega signifies this. So since it's a complex exponential, real of z versus imaginary of z, and this is what we call it as z-plane plot. So this z-plane plot actually involves a plot with respect to real of z and imaginary of z, where the point r e to the power of j omega is at a distance r from the origin, and it is making an angle omega relative to the real axis. So this is how we interpret this z to the power of minus n. So a very important formula. The formula signifies all these things what I said. So it's for discrete time signals, arbitrary discrete time signals, and Z is the complex exponential, where Z can be written as R e to the power of j omega, and this R, it is at a distance, this R e to the power of j omega, this point Z is equal to R e to the power of j omega is at a distance R, and with making an angle omega with the real axis. If R is 1, what do we say? It is on the unit circle. So the radius is 1. So we say that it is tracing a unit circle. So it is having R is equal to 1 means it's a unit circle. We call it as unit circle. So that we will come to it later on. As of now, remember this expression for Z transform. Now, let us go ahead a little more and talk about Z is equal to R e to the power of j omega and substitute it in equation 1. So what do we observe? So x of Z is equal to summation over n from minus infinity to plus infinity. X of n, R, Z was R e to the power of j omega, and that raised to the power of n. So that is what we have in, it is actually minus n, but I have brought the minus inside. So it is R e to the power of minus j omega n, because it is x of n, Z to the power of minus n. So the negative is inside. Now, there are certain things which we say convergence of the Z transform, like how we spoke about convergence in the case of Fourier series. That is, for the Fourier series to exist, I told you we have to have certain conditions. If you remember, I spoke about Dirichlet conditions. That is, for the convergence of Fourier series, or when do we say the Fourier series exists. In a similar way, we also have certain things to discuss in Z transforms, as we say that convergence of Z transforms. So the next set of points is regarding the convergence of Z transforms. So the Z transform exists, or you say it converges, when the infinite sum is converging. You say Z transform is existing because it's an infinite sum from minus infinity to plus infinity. And when this is converging, means it should give you a finite value when this is converging. I have also discussed what is converging and diverging in my earlier discussions. So it should converge. So what is the condition for convergence? So the necessary condition for convergence from this equation, from the above equation, is that it should be absolutely summable, absolute summability of x of n Z to the power of minus n. So it should be bounded, or it should be a summable x of n Z to the power of minus n. So we have x of n Z to the power of minus n, which we are saying that. So how can we write this Z? So Z is nothing but R e to the power of minus c. We have written R e to the power of minus j omega to the power n. So that is what we have. So this is x of n e to the power of minus j omega n, and this is what we have is that. So now we say that this x of n should be actually bounded, or we can simply write this as, we should say that this mod of x of n Z to the power of minus n, that is this Z transform expression, should be bounded, or this should give us a value. It should converge, means it should be less than infinity, or we can say that x of n R e to the power of minus n should be less than infinity. Or what is this R? So this is actually R, not Z. So R e to the power of minus n should be less than infinity. The range of R for which this condition is satisfied is termed as region of convergence. So we say that it is the range of R, where R is the distance from the origin where your Z is actually existing. Z is equal to R e to the power of j omega, where that is actually existing. So the range of R for which this condition is satisfied is termed as region of convergence. So it's a very, very important topic. This is a definition. Region of convergence is the range of R for which this condition, that is what condition? That is this summation, infinite summation is giving you a finite value or it is converging, is called as region of convergence. So this is ROC, what is actually defined. So remember this, that this Z transform expression should give you a finite value or it should be less than infinity, or in simple words, when you put all the Z is equal to R e to the power of minus j omega, you will get mod of x of n r to the power of minus n, where this r is nothing but a point. It is a distance. So the range of r for which this condition is satisfied is called as region of convergence, ROC. So more details with the help of a numerical we will see. As of now, you remember what is region of convergence. Like how you had x of n and x of k are Fourier transform pairs. Similarly, x of t and x of z are Fourier transform pairs. Means the inverse is also existing. Inverse Z transform also exists. We wrote two-sided arrow. If you remember, we wrote two-sided arrow. So from x of t, you get x of k. From x of k, you get back x of t. So both are, the inverse is existing. So in a similar way, the inverse Z transform expression is, inverse means what? From x of z, you have to get back x of n. What is x of n? X of n is equal to 1 over 2 pi j, and this integral, and if you put a circle, you say it is over a contour, x of z, z to the power of n minus 1 dz. So this is the inverse Z transform expression, which we will call it as 3. You will just remember the expression, but most of the numericals which we discuss in inverse Z transform, we will try to solve it by partial fraction expansion, and then later on simplification, we will try to use the partial fraction expansion and then come up with the inverse. Because integrating and using this method over a closed contour is a little tedious, so we'll be using partial fraction expansion. But we have to know the definition, so that is why we have written the definition of inverse Z transform. So we have x of n and x of z as Fourier transform pairs. You see, x of n and x of z are Fourier, or Z transform pairs. I'm sorry, they are Z transform pairs. We have two-sided arrow. It says that from x of n we get x of z. From x of z we get back x of n, and we have to put the z here. In my earlier discussion, I had put fs. Now we have z here. So x of n and x of z are Fourier, Z transform pairs. Now we will just talk about what are some of the important properties of ROC. So I will conclude my discussion after I've discussed with the properties. These 4 properties we will discuss for today. So what are the important properties of ROC? Region of convergence. So it's nothing but the range of R for which you say that the Z transform is actually converging, or it is existing. It is the range of R. That is, R means what? We are talking in the Z plane. Real of Z and imaginary of Z. You should remember the Z plane plot. So in the ROC, it should not contain poles. When I give you an expression Z by Z minus 2, the denominator ones are called poles and the numerator ones are called zeros. So I will discuss this a little more with a generalized expression a little later on. But as such, when we have h of z is equal to Z by Z minus 2, Z minus 2 means there is a pole at 2 and there is a 0 at 0 itself. That is, what is the 0? There is the numerator ones are called zeros. Denominator one which we get are nothing but poles. Now ROC cannot contain poles. Means it should not have any poles. Within the region of convergence, they should not have any poles. There should be no such poles which should exist. If x of n is finite causal sequence, now I need not specify what is a causal sequence. Causal sequence means the signal is 0 for all values of n less than 0, or the signal is totally a right-sided signal, means for all n greater than or equal to 0, the signal is existing. So such a kind of a signal is called as a causal sequence. Why sequence? Because all our discussion is with respect to discrete time. Then the ROC is entire Z plane except at Z is equal to 0. So these are some standard properties. That is, when the signal is a causal signal, its ROC will be entire Z plane except Z is equal to 0. We can probably take up some examples and prove all these things. You will observe that. But as of now, you just keep it in your mind that when the signal is totally right-sided, or if it's causal, the ROC is the entire Z plane except Z is equal to 0. This except is very important. Except Z is equal to 0. I will tell you why it's except Z is equal to 0. If X of n is finite non-causal sequence, non-causal means what? It is not equal to 0 for n less than 0. Means it is existing even on the negative side. So then the ROC is the entire Z plane except for Z is equal to infinity. Why the Z is equal to 0, Z is equal to infinity? Because we are putting this because at these points, the signal, the Z transform will not exist. So it's ROC means what? The Z transform is existing everywhere in the Z plane except at Z is equal to 0 here. The ROC or the Z transform is converging everywhere for all values throughout the Z plane except for Z is equal to infinity. This is the meaning of these two sentences. Now, there could be a possibility that X of n, which is a sequence, can be double-sided. It is existing for positive values. It's also existing for negative values. Means it's a double-sided sequence. So then what will be its ROC? So from these two cases, we can come to a conclusion that it should be the entire Z plane excluding 2 points. Which are the 2 points? One at Z is equal to 0, one at Z is equal to infinity. Because at these 2 points, this Z transform will not converge. So that is the reason we will remove these 2 points and we say that the region of convergence is the entire Z plane except at Z is equal to 0 and Z is equal to infinity. So this is how we talk about the properties of ROC. Now, the next one is that if X of n is causal infinite length sequence, if it is a causal and it is of infinite length sequence, then the ROC is of the form mod Z is greater than R max, where R max is the largest magnitude of any of the poles of X of Z. So any of the poles means largest magnitude means you will have Z minus 2, Z minus 3, Z minus 4 or something like that. So it will be the R max will be the largest magnitude of any of the poles of X of Z. So all these things you'll probably understand when we have taken up an example. But since properties, they can ask you, write a short note on the properties of ROC. You have to mention all these points. So that is the reason you have to also know how to represent them like in a clear with clear terms and with good expressions. You have to represent it. So it says that what will be the ROC for a causal infinite length sequence, then the ROC is of the form. What will be the ROC for such a kind of a thing? Mod Z is greater than R max. So R max is nothing but 1 point. Like R could be I told you unit circle. It will 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. It is a value. So greater than R max. So it will converge for all values greater than R max, where R max is the largest magnitude of any of the poles of X of Z. So if it's causal infinite length sequence. So ROC is exterior to the circle. So where the circle is having radius R max, exterior to the circle means everything outside that particular circle, that is mod Z is equal to R max, exterior to that circle in the Z plane with possible exception of Z is equal to infinity. So this is the convergence for a causal infinite length sequence. So when it is of infinite length, this is causal infinite length. This is how we define the ROC for such a kind of a sequence. Now, what if it is a non-causal sequence? Then the ROC will be interior or within the circle of radius, that is the minimum of the smallest magnitude of the poles of x of z. The smallest magnitude, if I have 3, 2, 1, I will be taking the smallest magnitude. So the smallest magnitude of any of the poles of x of z, and it will be interior to the circle, that is mod z is equal to r min if the z plane with possible exception of z is equal to 0. So these are two, if you remember one case, the other case is just the opposite. So one is causal infinite duration, other one is non-causal infinite duration. Then what will happen? One will be exterior to the circle, one will be interior to the circle. Now what if it is a two-sided sequence? Every question, every property, we have so many numericals to work on. We will be doing it once we have done with all the theoretical part. We can work on many numericals in this particular domain. So if it's a two-sided sequence, that is, two-sided means what? It is infinite duration, but it is existing on positive side as well as on the negative side. Then what will happen? Then the ROC will be bounded between two radius. What is that? R min and R max, or R1 and R2. We can say that it will be bounded between two, what are the two bounds? Two radius. So R1 and R2 are two radius. For one case we said R minimum, other case we said R max. So it will be bounded between these two, and there, that is why our relationship here is R1. So mod z is bounded between R1 and R2. So one is exterior, one is interior to the given circle, where R1 and R2 are the magnitudes of the poles of x of z. Thus the ROC is an angular ring. So you will only find an angular ring, means one circle, on top of it one more circle, and within that two circles we will shade it, means it's an angular ring in the z plane between the circles mod z is equal to R1 and mod z is equal to R2, not containing any poles. Why not containing any poles? Because I have told you ROC should not contain any poles. The important property for convergence is that ROC should not contain any poles. This has to be taken care. So that is about the 7 properties of, we have few more properties. I will probably discuss in my next meeting.